Alright, so another video where we round up the best of 2021. We are publishing this in 2022, but better late than never, I guess. So we're going to be here rounding up the best albums of the year and the best EPs of the year. And I'm going to put both of them into the same video. And they will be two separate lists because the criteria of what an EP requires versus what an album requires are very, very different. And so they will be their own lists. One or two of these projects might count as an LP or a mixtape. I'm just categorizing based on the length of them, which one's going to be an album, which one's going to be an EP, and we'll just say projects. Like, I know we could get into mad specifics. This is just what we're categorizing them as. If the artist has a major issue, they can contact me about it, but I think I've given it a fair criteria. And with that in mind, let's start off with the EPs of the year. We had some very strong projects this year. Very strong projects this year. And I'm thoroughly impressed. So at my number 5 is going to be Wombat's Chainsaw Man. Now, this is kind of difficult to place somewhere because it's so new. I've only heard it a matter of days ago, if not about a week ago or so. And because of that, it makes it difficult for me to really judge on where it should be at, because certain projects you need to live with for a bit. Sometimes things grow on you. Sometimes things over time, you depreciate them a little bit. So it's tough for me to really consider where it goes, but at this current point in time, just based off the feeling of it, I'm putting it at 5. It is a very strong project from Wombat. It's nice to see Wombat actually put out a project in the first place. Now, to my knowledge, he said that he's going to be putting out up to 3 projects in this coming year, and it'll be very interesting to see how it compares to Chainsaw Man. 1 or 2 people saying it felt rushed and felt a bit too quick. Other people saying it was their favorite project of the year, and if so, I can understand why. If you are a big Wombat fan, he delivered a lot of what he normally does, you know, and Wombat is a very talented MC, and I hope that his artistry can come out a bit more, because we know that if you was to slap on a beat and just let him bar for 96 bars in a row, you know what he's going to deliver. He's going to deliver pure fucking gold. But in terms of diversifying his sound and whatnot, he did a decent amount of that on this EP, and it'd be interesting to see how we can develop and improve upon that in coming projects. But yeah, I'm putting that at number 5 for now. Number 4 on my list is going to go to Day 1, Day Uno. This project surprised me. I'll be honest with you. I didn't expect to like it as much as I did. And it has a decent amount of replay value. Like, I find myself going back to certain tracks on here quite a fair bit. No hiding the fact, I really enjoy his standout single, Energy. That was one of my top 10 favorite tracks of the year. Maybe that carries it high into this list, but I just really enjoyed this project as a whole. I can't lie. It proved me wrong in a lot of ways. Now, this isn't to say I was hating on Day Ones or said he was shit or anything like that. Like, I respected Day Ones, but I think I gained a lot more respect after hearing this project. I was like, no, you know what, this guy is serious. This guy is really going to be about for longer than just 1 or 2 individual tracks, and for that it made me quite excited to hear Day One. You know, it's ignited this excitement and curiosity to see what he's got coming in the future. There's certain artists I may react to and I may like them, but I may not look forward to their stuff. You know what I mean? If that makes sense, I may not go out of my way to check what they're doing. And I think after this project, it really did make me tap into what Day One was doing and make me want to care now. It makes me want to follow what he's dropping next. And so for that alone, I had to put this in my top 5, and I'm putting it at number 4. I had a tough time deciding my top 3 because I could probably alternate it round a little bit, but I think I'm happy with this final 3. Third place goes to the Finals EP by Pistol Pete and Enzo. I love the fact it has 2 sides to it. I love the concept behind everything they're doing, how it's kind of based around a footy match, and they're the managers or they're the players, and there's like the team talk at halftime, and they have the interlude for that and everything. Like, a lot of things fell into place. The first half I enjoyed, but the second half is where it really did shine for me, and again carried heavily perhaps by the single, which was my favorite track of the year, Family. Like, that track is immaculate, and what they managed to do with that is incredible, and maybe that's the thing that does propel it to 3rd in this list. But they did a good job all round. There's no denying they did a great job all round. The Victorious track with Young and Lips is fantastic. Like I said, the halftime interlude, just the way they marketed everything. Like, it's just a really good project. It's very clean. I think it's personally their best work. It's my favorite work from Pistol Pete and Enzo. And yeah, you can definitely see that they've been around for a minute. They're not newcomers to this game, and they talk a lot of shit about paving the way and really opening doors for people, and it's hard to argue against that with how they lay it out in this project. And they really proved themselves as being one of the best Polynesian acts to be coming out of Australia. Number 2 on my list goes to Nerve's Tall Poppy Season. This is a special project to me, not only for the fact of it being a Nerve project that I enjoyed, but it was also the pilot episode for my honourable show that I did. We did a live episode with Nerve live on YouTube where we reacted to the tracks alongside with him. So for that, it also becomes a special moment to me. Now, I don't want that to cloud my judgment of what the actual music is. But it's genuinely a good fucking project anyway, you know? I found myself going back to it on a regular basis. Missed Calls, great track. Walk and Talk Part 4, absolute banger. Baby, shut your mouth. No, Baby, Stop Running Your Mouth. I had to really think about that there. Baby, Stop Running Your Mouth. Like, there's some really good standout tracks on this EP. And Nerve marketed it so well. The videos are immaculate. Just, it did a lot for Nerve this year. It did a lot for Nerve. I think off the strength of that EP and everything he did around it is the reason why I put him in my top 5 artists of the year, because he had a great year off the back of this EP, everything leading up to it, and the few features that he did in and around the time of dropping that as well were great. And so Nerve just had a crazy output this year, and I think that Tall Poppy Season is his best work to date. It's the most quintessential of himself. It's the most originally unique version of Nerve. It's Nerve doing Nerve things. It is the epitome of his own, of the phrase I say on behalf of him, you know. He just did everything right, and I have a lot of time for this project, a lot of time. And number 1 on my list goes to Perspective by Lisi. This project, although one that again is reasonably new to me, I've only had a matter of weeks to live with this project. I can't stop listening to it. Like, and again, you have tracks like Tell the Truth and Brown Brother. And it's just like, wow. Like, that's what that project does to me. It is a wow type of project. Lissy has gone from a newcomer who's broke onto the scene and gone trending after his first couple tracks to an artist who we're really respecting. An artist that we're really learning, who's established himself, you know? Who's really said, like, I'm not just here for a weekend. I'm not just here for a viral million views. I'm here to stay, and I'm here to improve and continue to build on that. And although he may not have millions of views on every song that he does now, what he does have is a growing fan base and a growing base of people who are genuinely supporting him. That's what I see anyway. I just think the brother is a young, talented man that is going to do a lot of things, not only now, but also in the future. As for the project itself, it just shows you the perspective of what it's like to be a young Polynesian man growing up in Australia, growing up in Brisbane, you know? Like, yeah. I could sit here and talk about it for a long time, but it's number 1, and that's the bottom line. Because Stone Cold said so. A couple of honourable mentions that could have made my 5th place. Almost 22 by Scrub. Very good EP. I just wanted to hear more from him, to be honest with you. I did like the EP. I think I just needed a couple of extra bangers on there. I think I just needed maybe 7 or 8, which I know for an EP is quite long, but I just feel like it needed the extra couple. And or like Love Me at My Funeral Part 2. I don't think that was part of the project, and that would have made a world of difference to me personally. But Scrub, very excited to see what he's got coming, and it's still a great EP. And the other honourable shout out I'm going to give is to Bally Boy for Local Lunatic. Again, another good EP. One that also probably just needed one more banger on there. And I might consider it as part of the top 5. Again, one that I actually listened to a fair bit. And at one point I had over Day One's project, but I listened to him side by side, and I do think I prefer Day One's project, Day Uno. But Local Lunatic, still a very good project, and I would still highly recommend you listen to it if you haven't already. Alright, and so that is our EP list finished. So now we are going to switch over to our albums of the year. And at number 5, we are going to open up with Indigo Merkaba's Borderline. Indigo Merkaba also dropped a plethora of other projects this year, but I think Borderline is my favorite, and I think it's his best one personally. First off, it is his most personal, for a lack of a better term, personal project. It is one of the most vulnerable sides we've heard of Indigo Merkaba. It's a very cohesive project. Everything makes sense. We know that he can bring bangers. We know that he can bar the fuck out, and here he does that, but he does it in a way that talks mainly, and the main focus of this is his mental health and his mental well-being, and perhaps even his physical well-being. It talks a lot about how he's doing, and I think that that's very important for an artist, whether it's a song, whether it's a portion of a project, whether it is a whole project dedicated to it, to do that at some point. Because what it allows is your audience to really connect with you as an artist. As much as we listen to these artists and we listen to music and we think we know them, we don't really. Yeah, and even after listening to Borderline, that doesn't mean I know everything about Indigo Merkaba, but what it allows me to do is just feel like I can relate to him. You know what I mean? It gives you that feeling of understanding him. It gives you that kind of it gives you a connection to that artist. They're letting you into their world, and if you are a real consumer, if you're a real fan of their content, you will sit there and you will take the time to try and dissect as much of that as you possibly can. And I just think that he does that. He allows us as an audience to do that very well with this project. So Borderline, I'm putting at my number 5. Number 4, Bitter Belief, The Elephant Gifts. Probably the least known project on this list, but a great project. Bitter Belief, absolutely smashing it out the park here, using a mix of different types of instrumentals, using a great instrumental choice, especially for his more personal and deep ones, with great string sections and even horn sections, and just great instrumentation that allows him to then tell his story. Bitter Belief is very, very good at storytelling. Bitter Belief is very, very good at making a very deep story seem so simple to take in and understand. Superb clarity, great energy, good lyricism at times. Like, Bitter Belief just does a fantastic job. And again, it is similar to what I was saying about Pistol Pete and Enzo. Just shows what the difference between an artist who is going through their first project versus an artist who's been doing this for years now, versus an artist who knows what to do, who understands their own sound. And that's what Bitter Belief does for me here. He just understands his own sound. He understands what he brings to the table. And I think The Elephant Gifts is a great example of that. Some great music videos as well to pair with this. So yeah, The Elephant Gifts, great project in my opinion. Number 3 is a project where I don't know where to put it, so I'm putting it in the middle. And that was very similar to my Artist of the Year list, because it's going to be Chillin' It's Family Ties. At times, this project makes me believe it is Album of the Year. And at other times, this project makes me go, but what's missing from it? Now, I'll sit here and easily say Chillin' It's best work, hands down, in my opinion. As a cohesive project, it is his best work. On average of the percentage of songs I like versus dislike, I like near enough every single track on this project. Like, I enjoy this project top to bottom, no skips. I don't know why I can't put this over the other 2 projects I have above it though. And that's the weird thing. I did have this as number 1 at one point, and then I dropped it down to 2, and it sat at 2 up until I made this video, and I'm just like, I can't put it above number 2, and I'll talk about that more in a moment. But I will say this, perhaps that comes down to it being one of the projects that's dropped later on in the year, and I need more time with it, etc, etc, etc. You've heard this speech, but it is a very, very good project. I think Chill spoke about spoke about this project for so long, and it had so much build up and it had so much excitement and hype for it, and then he executed upon that. He delivered upon that, you know. And so in no ways, in shape or form, do I believe it's a disappointing project. I don't believe it's a flop. It charted. He did amazing things with the singles, and we know that there's a deluxe version of it coming out as well at some point. So it's a very good project. I enjoy Family Ties. I listen to it on a regular basis ever since hearing it. And I've got to say, just congrats to Chill, because he did exactly what he said he was going to do with it. Number 2, a project that part of me doesn't even think it's better than Chill's, but I rinse the hell out of it. and I can't stop listening to it. And that's Young and Lips' Area Baby. Some people really dislike Young and Lips, and some people really dislike this project, and I just disagree with them. I respectfully just disagree with you. I really fucking like this project. For some reason, I can't stop listening to it. There are so many gems in here. There are so many songs that are just so good. And although I think Family Ties is a better album, I think Young and Lips just has better replay value. I think, anyway. But I can say that because Young and Lips' Area Baby has been out for a longer amount of time than Family Ties has. And maybe that's the reason why I put it above. So please consider these albums as a joint second in a lot of ways. And that's not me copping out in any way, shape or form. And the only reason I put it there is because I've listened to Area Baby way more than Family Ties. And that's probably the reason why I put it above it, is because I understand that project a bit better. Young and Lips smashed it, considering he had no features on there. Like, absolutely smashed it. Other than the Misunderstood Part 2 remix and whatnot. But other than that, no features. And he carries a whole 15 tracks by himself. You know, even with the Misunderstood Part 2 with M. Huncho and everything, like, I think a lot of people still just prefer the original. I appreciate the Part 2, and I think it definitely does add on to it, you know. It's not just a clout moment of, oh yeah, just get him on because it does the numbers. That, it doesn't feel like that to me anyway. And if it was, they did a fucking great job of making it seem genuine, you know. It's just a really nice project to listen to on a regular basis, for me personally. So I'm putting it at number 2. But now we're going to go on to an album that does both of the strengths of Family Ties and Area Baby better than both of them. It is more of a cohesive project than Family Ties, and it has even more replay value than Area Baby, and that's Posse Shot's PS3, still in the game. This project is chef's kiss, in my opinion. Again, a project that some people still probably haven't heard, and if I give you any recommendation, go and listen to this project. Posse Shot, a duo that have been about for years, but I only found out about them not that long ago, maybe about a year or so ago. And I just think that they delivered just an absolute masterpiece of a project. And believe it or not, I somehow still prefer PS2 over it from a lyrical standpoint, from a nostalgia standpoint, if I even can say that, even though I haven't lived long enough with PS2 to even say that it's nostalgic. But PS3 from a production standpoint is where it leveled up, and I think it is just the thing that is the icing on top of the cake, because what Carney does with this project from a production standpoint is amazing. I think what this project stands for is a lot bigger as well, you know. It's in the mix of a lockdown, it's, you know, talking about the heart of Melbourne, it's talking about culture, it's genuinely adding to culture. You know, it's not saying, oh, we're a part of culture just because it's the cool and unique and niche thing to say. No, these men actually deliver and actually contribute towards Melbourne culture. That was shown in their City Loop project, which is going to be one of my honourable mentions. But focusing on PS3, wow, just wow factor across the board. When we talk about the roller coaster effect of ups and downs throughout a track, when we talk about moments, standout lyrics, standout moments, they're just littered throughout this project in every single track. Even the skits I still listen to. I don't skip over them because it gives me that level of excitement for the track that is about to drop. If you listen to the intro and it's just like, where's everybody gone? I don't know, brother. Like, that whole back and forth that they have seems so organic, and it just works from an atmosphere standpoint. Just, there's so much that just is delivered right here, and I give it nothing but a round of applause. PS3 is my favourite album of the year. A couple of honourable mentions for album of the year, is the Posse Shot City Loop project, collaboration project. Maybe if I heard more Posse Shot on the project, I'd like it more. I still really like it. Again, it's quite a new one, so maybe I need to live with it a little bit longer, etc, etc. But I think it's fair to just sit around 6th or 7th for me. I do like the project. I know some people even prefer it over PS3. I'd just say, on behalf of that, listen to them side by side. If you are a fan of Posse Shot, PS3 is where it's at for me personally. But if you like the mix of artists and the whole collaboration mixtape vibe, then yeah, you can go with that. I mean, it is more of a mixtape than it is an album. But again, I have to give it a shout out because it is a very good project. The other one, being one that we only checked out on a live stream this morning. I had to do that live stream before making this list because I knew it would be in and around this list, and that's the 046, the Proctor. Obviously, it's difficult for me to judge an album on the day of me hearing it and put it in a list of the year, but I don't think it breaks my top 5. I had a lot of positives to give the 046, but I also had a fair amount of criticisms to give that they can improve upon. But there's a bag of potential there, and it's still quite a good project. And I'm definitely going to spend some time listening back to it and try and live with it for a bit to see how much my opinion changes on it. But I thought I'd have to give that an honourable shout out because it's still a good project from them boys. Now, I understand there's some other projects that did not make my list or I did not mention in today's video. There are a couple projects that dropped this year that I may have not even heard, and if so, I apologize that if you've missed out. I'm going to try this year to really catch as many projects as I can throughout the year. Obviously, there's going to be more than 52 albums dropping a year, and I can only live stream once a week at best, sometimes twice or 3 times if I've got the time off, but again, it's a very busy time, so we're going to try and catch as many projects as possible this year and try and keep as regular as we can with these live streams and uploads and whatnot. But I just want to say that there's been a lot of good projects this year. I will say this. I feel like the EP list holds up very strongly against an album list. Now, normally when I think of albums, I prefer albums because they're normally more cohesive. There's normally more of a theme. There's more likely to be a concept album, perhaps. And there's more tracks from some of our favorite artists in one project. So on paper, you should like albums more than EPs. But I've got to say, the EP's quality this year was very, very high. I argue that the standard of the EPs was higher than the albums this year. And that's not to take away from the albums. I mean, look at that. PS3, Area Baby, Family Ties, The Elephant Gifts, Borderline. Like, these are some top tier Australian hip-hop projects, just hip-hop projects in general. But Perspective, Tall Poppy Season, Finals Day Uno, Chainsaw Man, they're very good projects equally, and I think that they hold up very well. If you was to compare them two lists, my question to you is, what list do you prefer? Would you prefer to only listen to the albums list, or would you prefer to only listen to the EPs list? I don't know. That's just my question to you guys. If I didn't mention one of your favorite projects from the year, let me know down in the comment section below. What's one of your favorite ones and why? Do you agree with my list? Do you not? Have a discussion, have a friendly debate in the comment section. Don't be afraid to argue with each other in the right way. Don't be afraid to speak your opinion. Don't be afraid to say, like, no, I disagree with people. But equally, if you do agree with someone in the comment section or even myself, feel free to add on to our points. I like these type of discussions, and I think it's good to share kind of your different perspectives and different opinions and, you know, different stories with each other about these projects. So yeah, I know that there's some projects that I missed out. I apologize, but if I haven't heard it, I can't throw it in the list. So I'm going to do my best for 2022 to make sure I catch as many projects as I possibly can to make sure that this list is as fair as possible. And if I have heard a project and I haven't included it in this list, it doesn't mean I don't like it in any way, shape or form. Sometimes you just listen to some projects more than others, and maybe it's just a case of replay value. I don't know. But yeah, I appreciate you. If you've watched all the way through this video, let me know what you think in the comment section below. And yeah, until next year.